Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Matchbox Talks. I'm here today with the founder of Matchbox and chief matchmaker, Dr. Bano Murtuja, and her husband, Sidi Nader Khan, on the topic of staying married, how to not side-eye your spouse even though you really want to. Side-eye being a step above rolling your eyes.
Yes, yes. Oh, wow, yeah.
We've already done the rolling of the eyes.
Yes, it's a level beyond. Go ahead.
No, I definitely want to hear from you first.
Oh, no. You want to hear from me about how to handle being side-eyed.
Yeah, I have nothing to give on this one. I have nothing to give. I have two levels, two switches when it comes to this. It's either complete silence, because I know that anything that's going to come out of my mouth is going to be really destructive. And so then my face has to just become my resting face, which is not pleasant. And then I have... and then the other one is just is out and out World War III. So it's sort of, I have one of the two, which is why I just say to him, just leave me be, let me be silent, because right now you don't want to hear what I have to say. And so
See,
that's control.
She should be
That's
grateful
control.
that I'm irritating her.
Because
because I am the means through which she's practicing patience with Allah.
sober,
I
living
mean,
sober.
Yes. I mean, I practice gratefulness with her. She practices patience with me.
You should just be grateful that you're still alive after 7 years of
Hi
marriage.
Allah.
Is that
Hi
I have
Allah.
managed to maintain, because, I've had
Yes.
plenty excuses.
Hi Allah.
So are you fighting the urge to
side-eye?
Do I fight the urge to side-eye? Yeah, I do. Because I know that it really, really bothers him. Like, my face can bother him sometimes.
No, I'm thinking of all these Bollywood songs about your beloved's face.
Yeah, that's good. Keep
Not a
thinking
single one of
those.
them included side eyes. Look, okay. It's really, really good to talk about prophetic character when everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah.
And how one of our teachers, Habib Umar, spoke about it. He said that, the real test, the real time to implement the sunnah of prophetic character is when things are not going right? And ultimately, marriage is about refining your character, about becoming a better person. And I think when we were talking about this whole list last night, one of the things you mentioned was about being a mirror to your partner, showing them where there's where things are going wrong, and like also being able to see yourself in them, right? Often, what we see in others is a reflection of who we are, right? So becoming more aware of what you're seeing in your partner. And hold on a second, I shouldn't be side-eyeing this because sometimes I'm doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I'm justified.
But in that moment where you're two human beings, it's the end of the day, you've had a really long day. I mean, you guys work together, right? So I can imagine the opportunity for side-eyeing probably comes up a little bit more during your day as opposed to people who've had 8 hours apart. So in that moment where you just really want him to be quiet or you really want her to pay attention or whatever, how do you...
Just know your spouse enough to know when to get up and leave. Because if you're...
not to be afraid of the getting up and leaving, because sometimes we're afraid to do that and we're told to kind of stay because
Sometimes it's healthy to get up and walk away for a bit.
And I think the notion of refining character is really important, because when you get married, like I remember when I got married, and prior to that, when we were having conversations, and he was going, "Oh, when was the last time you lost your temper?" I was going, "I think it was about 7 years ago, the last time I lost my temper. I haven't lost my temper." Because I was, I really had managed to control my temper a great deal. Then I got married, and all of a sudden it was like, it was like, where did this person come from? Who is this person? And I just became...
It was exactly like that.
and it was literally every horror movie you can imagine all rolled up into one, and I didn't recognize who I was. But it was this understanding that when you are with somebody for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which in our case we are because we work together, like you said, and now this person is getting to know you in a, you know, whether it's the things that you like, the things that you dislike, but at like this breakneck speed.
Right.
They're not getting to know you for, you know, once a day, once a week, having coffee.
At the same time, you're getting to know yourself in a way that you never expected.
Right, because now you're
of
Also
starting
at
to
breakneck speed.
Your
Exactly.
relationship is a catalyst for reactions within you that
Yep,
you've
absolutely.
Right. And so, you know, and then you first of all, I would suggest that people recognize that and give themselves the time and the space that they need, and be kind enough to themselves to say, okay, this is tough, and it's okay that it's tough. It's okay that it's going to take us time
Absolutely.
to learn how to manage one another. It's okay that it's going to take time for me to learn how to be patient. Like he says, he uses the R word, which he now says is the R word, but he would say, relax to me. And oh my God, it was like
in
somebody,
my family,
it was like the red rag to the bull. And I would just be like,
bulls are
did you
colorblind.
just tell me to relax?
But see,
Never in the history of being told to relax has anyone
Has a woman ever relaxed?
No, but in my family, where I come
Or
from,
anyone
where I come from, like it's a very sympathetic way of like, okay, it's okay, you know, everything will be fine, relax, you know. But it's not a condescending relax, like, relax, you know, like don't get freaked out, like you know, stop.
Actually, I'm concerned for you.
Yeah, it's a very much like empathetic, like I'm concerned for you. It's okay, I'm here, relax.
She's not having.
No,
a good
no.
moment
I'm
right
like,
now.
you
She's
need
not
to
having a
keep
good moment
every
right now.
sharp object possible away from me, and even the blunt ones, because I may use them too. Like, sort of, you know, it's like you are going to be in pain in like 3, 2, 1, run now.
Have mercy on the sharp and blunt objects.
But
They
this
will
is,
melt
you know,
when they contact.
And I
you.
think,
Yes.
I think you have to kind of get to that point where you can learn to mediate yourself. And for me, that came with, I really just need space right now. Because initially, you don't take that space. Because initially you think, no, I love you and I'm going to work everything out. And then you think, no, that was a bad idea. Don't do that. Take time. You know, for yourself, you know, you understand yourself enough. And now I'm able to say to him, okay, I just think we shouldn't talk for a little while. Because I just really do need to just breathe this out. And then I need to go, you know, and being able to have those conversations, and that takes a maturity of your relationship. Your relationship has
That's
to
not going to be
mature
there
enough.
day one.
No, it isn't. And you have to get to a healthy point enough where you can say, this is the way I need to deal with this right now, in order for me to not make this worse.
But getting there involves you seeing it through to get there.
Right.
So
And
not just
not
kind of
bouncing.
packing it in.
No, yeah, as in not bouncing, like giving up on it, and you know, sorry, you know, I don't like this channel, I'm going to change it,
Right.
right?
Okay.
But sticking it through until you get to that point, right?
But and maybe also just accepting, because I know you as friends, right?
Yes.
Just accepting that certain things are going to irritate you about that person.
course.
Because
Yeah.
that's
Of
their
course.
personality.
Of
and
Right.
course.
You're gonna love them, and it's okay to just say, yeah, there he goes again.
Well, I mean, you know, if you think about the fact that there are things that your children do, and these are people that are part of you, that, you know, and they do things and they bug the bejesus out of you, right? Like, and so of course your partner's going to bother you at times, and then you just appreciate the fact that, okay, well, you know, he takes the bins out,
He's there. He's nice. He's kind.
so I'll let him go for now.
I mean, one of the things, for example, for me is when I'm in a situation like this, you know, when you have an emotionally overwhelming situation, it's difficult for me to find words to properly articulate what I'm trying to say, because there's just so much going on here and so much going on here. So I need to take some time, step back, and figure out what exactly am I trying to say here, and figure out how I'm trying to say it, or is it even worth saying it? Because, like, you know, it's okay for you to not say anything and shut up, right?
Not everything warrants
Not
a
everything needs to
reaction.
have a whole, you know, conference of, like, you know, a whole Juma bazaar of, like, this is what I'm saying, this is what you're saying, this is wrong and that is right. Sitting, have a logical discussion in an emotional situation doesn't work. You know, often the best thing to do is say, you know what, it's okay. She is tired, she's having a bad day, I screwed up. I don't have to say anything. And it's okay that I don't have to say anything. I'm not any lesser of a man for not saying anything.
I really like that point. It kind of really draws out that it's an act of compassion actually for the other person. When
or even for yourself,
or
because
even
you
for
don't want to be
yourself,
on the
because-
receiving end of anything.
because you don't want to be on the receiving end of saying that. So if we were to kind of just close off, I mean, really, you're saying be mature, right? Fight that urge as much as you want to really say something or look sideways at someone. Just kind of step back, figure out, what's triggering this, and maybe have a conversation kind of once the emotional storm has passed.
And understand that you're human and they're human too, and it's okay. You will mess up.
You will mess up.
But also sometimes listen to the side eye, especially if you're in a social situation and you're talking and your wife looks at you and says, you really need to be quiet right now. But does it with that side eye expression.
And
listen.
Listen.
To all men everywhere, listen.
If your wife is in a public, that's a topic for another day. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'd love to hear from you on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and leave us your comments. Assalamu alaikum.